Thank you very much, and congrats, Selfmade, on reaching round 2 here.
Thank you, and hello everyone.
Hi. I mean, there's been a shift in this series, it seems, with the first 2 games being really one-sided. Then game 3 was, I don't know, special, let's say, and then
It was for sure special and very fun.
Oh, you know what? Let's talk about this third game here. What happened? Look.
Okay, so what happened third
like
game?
We're having so much fun.
Okay, so TLDR of third game is coach gap, right? They had just better draft, and we had really hard time to play. And also, my support decided to first time a new support in playoffs.
Sweet.
So yeah, it was kinda sweet, right? And then for some reason, like they were really ahead, but they still couldn't close the game. So we actually realized that we can maybe try to like let Helisang just farm on side, do his job, right? Split push, and my job was to tactical int and buy time from enemies. So yeah, it kind of looks like I was straight up running it down, right? I died like 11 times, but honestly, that was part of the strat that we had to take. And well, it took them 33 minutes to close the game when the game should be over in around 20, I think. So
you were just playing with them.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it. It looked at the start like they were playing with us, but it wasn't like this, you know?
So from the first 2 games who were really one-sided to the Clown Fiesta in game 3 and then game 4, they were actually leading in the early game. So how do you explain the difficulty in getting a third victory in this best of 5?
I mean, first 2 games were like super easy for us. It kind of felt like we would be playing Clash, not like LEC playoffs. No offense to Origin, because as I'm talking a lot on Twitter, it's just online games, right? Everything is completely different than on stage, so games like this are normal, just like you guys also saw yesterday what was going on in Mad Lions against G2. And yeah, like those first 2 games were pretty easy, and then when it came to 4th game, we basically decided, like, because the bans were all the time the same, so we actually realized that we should just take Gragas on first, and what else happened, right? It's like Xerxes specific, because it just feels like this guy can play only 2 champions, which is Karthus and Gragas.
Yeah.
And it was already kind of proved back in regular split, like a lot of teams banned it against him, and he's super lost, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of our strat after 3rd game. We just said, whatever, guys, just first pick Gragas and hope for the best, you know?
Okay, it explains
if they want Senna, give them Senna, then we get Aphelios and stuff like this. But still, it's like, they actually had a good early game in the 4th game, right? Because they played well around top lane, and like they killed my bot lane 2v2, so it was... Like, this game should be lost, but then the whole natural action happened, and we got really lucky there, so... Yeah, I guess luck was on our side this series.
I wouldn't call it luck, but we will let the analysts decide on this one. But taking a step back here, this was your first playoff series with Fnatic. How was it, like on a personal side?
I love my team. What else can I say? It's like just pleasure, because like if we win together. If we int together, you know? Like nobody
it's a team
blames.
Effort.
Yeah, it is team effort, exactly. And we proved that today, I think, especially in the 3rd game.
I agree. And as Fnatic advance, you will have to face off against Mad Lions here in round 2. You were the rookie of the split in Spring Split 2019 last year. And as we heard a lot of praise towards this rookie lineup with the Mad Lions, what is your take on their recent success against G2 yesterday? Crazy game, really.
I mean, again, like everything can happen. For example, the series yesterday, G2 could also win if Caps hit the Nexus, right?
Yeah.
Just like one basic attack off, but at the same time, I don't think games like this would ever happen on stage. So it was just pure fiesta from both teams. Like one game, even the 4th game, right? When like Mad Lions was 10k ahead minute 5 with like Elise, whatever they played, and then randomly they lose in 5 minutes.
Okay, so with what we've seen from you, sorry, you wanted to say something maybe.
Like, what I want to say is just that it's really hard to judge right now which team is good, which team is bad, because anything can happen, you know, like there's complete different mentality when you play from home than when you play in front of the crowd.
Yeah.
And for example, when it comes to Mad Lions, I think this team is, like, the rookies they have are really good. Especially, I think Shadow is like, he has a lot of potential, but their bot lane, I think, is on a really, really high level. I like their bot lane a lot, and I think they might be like future LEC superstars even. And when it comes to actually giving Rookie of the Split award, I will give it to Kaiser, most likely.
Nice support for once.
If you wanted to ask for that, yeah. I mean, I'm the type of guy who I think support is a like really, really broken role, right? And it has the most impact in the game. So if you see like Mad Lions bot lane doing so well, it's mostly because of actually Kaiser not being like scared of making plays. It's like, support carries AD carry, right? And then AD carry does his job. So it's usually like this.
So keeping that in mind, and based on the crazy games we've seen from you today and the crazy game we saw from Mad Lions yesterday, how do you think you're going to match against them next week?
I mean, again,
Hard to say,
I can't promise anything, but we'll try our best, right? And actually, I can promise one thing, that the games will be crazy again, right? There's nothing to hide. I think it will again, mostly come to who has the draft that it feels comfortable with. But I think we are a better team than them, which doesn't mean, I don't mean we're gonna 3-0 them or we're gonna win for sure. We will see. We will try our best, but it will be a hot best of 5 for sure.
We'll see. I mean, 1 week to prepare from both sides, and we just want to have banger games, and that's all what we've been having so far.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. We have to send it over to PGL, but thank you so much, Selfmade, for the interview.
Thank you, too.
Congrats on reaching round 2 with Fnatic here. And to finish this day, you can take it away, Shox.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Oh, is this working? I can see Bwipo. Can you say something, Gabriel? I can't hear him. Maybe you guys can hear him. We're figuring it out, but this is the post-game lobby, by the way. And I'm Shox, joined by Ender and by Bwipo. I hear something. Let me figure it out.
You can't hear me? Wait, let me figure this one out.
Oh, now we can, but it seems like it's a bit delayed or something. We're figuring it out. Let me just ask you a question and you can answer, and I think that's going to work. So, congratulations. We just had a lot of context from Selfmade as well. But for me, it's kind of hard to judge what you guys' level is, because it went from being such a stomp to such a weird game 3 and then a finishing game 4. What feeling do you walk away from this best of 5?
Oh, I think the first 2 games, they disrespected our draft a lot. I think we ended up getting the Zillion as well as Senna, and it worked out very well for us. We got 2 good bot lane matchups there. I got good top lane matchups as well. And then in games 3 and 4, it got a little bit harder because they started drafting much better.
Okay, well, when it comes to kind of what you expected of OG and what they threw at you, did you... Oh?
I didn't tech guy. Let me have a look.
I can hear you, so I hope people at home can hear
I think it's my webcam mic.
We need an IT guy.
I need an IT guy. Where's my manager, man? Yeah, it's my webcam mic. That's why
Hey, it's a good thing your top lane play is better than your, webcam skills, so...
I mean,
it's the Windows default input. Hey, Bwipo, click on the bottom at your Windows default input, the speaker. And then open sound settings, and then select the right one on input. So whatever your headset is, or your mic.
Ooh, that should be better.
Maybe that works.
Is that better? I don't know. Is it? No, it's not.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Okay, wait. Now it should be better. Is it better? No, is it better?
You know what? That's what I felt when I was looking at this series. Is it better? Is it going to be better?
I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Okay, I don't know what's happening. Let me have a look. I'm trying to figure this one out. I mean, I'm still kind of hoping my manager shows up and saves me, but it's not happening. Just like I was hoping for.
We kind of hear you.
I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna go find him. All right, give me a sec.
Okay.
He just beats out. This is like how he plays top lane, right? He's laning for a little while. It's that's not going great. Let's just gank bot lane,
All right,
get reckless up here.
In. Let's see. Okay, let's play by play this. And here he comes. Oh, it's actually Mithy.
Wait, that's just Mithy.
Mithy is a
He's
coach
live
in real
coaching
life.
him.
He's also an IT guy. He's looking at the settings. He's checking if it is the Windows settings. We're going to go over it. Is it the headset? Is there another mic in the vicinity? Do we need to switch it off or not? Currently, we do see that Whippo is very concentrated. As always, he is in a game. He is also right now on this technical situation. You need to have a lot of tools in your toolbox if you want to come on the EGL here at the LEC. Mithy is now really under pressure. He has had to do 4 drafts already, but we'll have to see if he can solve this puzzle or if it will not work. I'm running out of breath. I don't know how Caster do this.
No,
Ender,
you just keep going, and then you toss it over to me, and then I pick up from you because I have to come in with the analysis. So as you can see here, Whippo has adopted the sit-in chair approach, even though Mithy is trying to operate the computer. He's going to do the classic stand over shoulder and try to direct you. So at some points he tries to tell Whippo what to do, others he's holding the mouse.
Whippo, can you hear us?
I can.
Whippo, because you can just keep it like this, because we can actually hear you. It's just not like super loud, but we can hear you.
There's no webcam mic. Can you fix it?
Let's just.
Yeah. I mean, for sure.
No, this is fine.
Okay. It's fine. We'll do like this. We're doing it live.
It's fine.
All right.
Can you check here?
I did.
This is content.
It works. For sure. It works. It's fine. We'll play it like we'll do it live. It's fine.
So Whippo, was figuring out the audio harder or easier than beating OG?
I mean, there didn't seem to be a solution to my audio problem, and there was a very clear solution to beating OG, so I would actually give IT the victory here.
Okay, a victory to IT. I'm going to put us back on track because otherwise we'll say that we are not being serious enough, which I think we do need to talk a bit seriously about these playoffs because they are going a bit crazy. Maybe final thing about the series. We had a certain expectation of Origin and about how they have these players that are always very good but fail to take that next step. So did they play exactly as you expected, and did you see some evolution in them in this best of 5?
I mean, honestly, I feel like the biggest problem I had from watching them play this series was that they're a really slow team. They were always known as a slow team, and they never really fixed that issue, which I think was like a very glaring issue in Game 4 when they had such a big lead that they weren't really doing anything and just waiting for us to pick off Aphelios with their composition. So all in all, I don't think they managed to adapt to the draft, and that was a good start, but they weren't able to actually translate that into gameplay and start speeding up the game as well, which I think was a big issue for them.
Yeah, from my point of view, it was really interesting because games 1 and 2, like you talk about the draft, you were talking about it a lot as well on the desk. It just felt like they never gave themselves options. Like Xerxes didn't really have any lanes he could play through in game 1. Like they were always playing backwards, if that makes sense, as opposed to having champions that can actually force and make plays. So it was always reacting to you, which is in the Origin style. But then as soon as they changed that up and all of a sudden instead of like a Yuumi in the bot lane for Destiny, he's on the Thresh, they have way more playmaking ability, and it seemed like that put them in a much better spot. But even then, I think mid-game of Game 3 especially, the way they managed their waves when they were looking to take that Baron was just pretty dreadful when you guys got the mid lane tower, 2 towers in bot lane and still stopped the Baron from going down. It seemed like you guys just had a better grasp of draft and then how to actually play the map as well.
Whippo, did you feel how do you walk away from this Game 3 is kind of what I want to get from it, because you could glance over it and say, well, we won the series and it was only our first best of 5 and this and that, but there still are a couple of best of 5s to play, and very important ones at that. So how much weight do you put into kind of what happened in that early game in Game 3? Now I really can't hear you.
Oh, we lost him. He's MIA
Did you
again.
mute something?
Yeah, what he's probably saying right now is, I thought my job was to go into a side lane and split push and get all the farm, and then Hilla saying dropped out of the Discord call and started split pushing on his own, and not too happy about that one.
We still can't hear you, actually. I don't know what happened. Someone's messing something up for you. Hey, we'll talk a bit more. We will crown the Kia player of the series whilst we're figuring it out.
Let's do it.
It's Nemesis with 55% of the votes. And we've talked about this before, how on a lineup like Fnatic, it's very hard to shine. But he definitely did in this series. And I think he was instrumental to the pressure of Fnatic by having that pressure in his mid lane.
Yeah, it was just sort of how Fnatic were able to unlock him out of mid lane to, in the first couple games find roams towards top. The last game on the Cassiopeia, major damage force right there. But it really is a situation where I feel like when Fnatic have the ability for Nemesis just like piece out of mid lane and start like moving around, like be that piece that can go into top or go into bot, like they just have so much freedom, and that's how they're able to snowball a lot of their games.
That it has. Good for Nemesis. We're going to wait till Bwipo comes back. I do want to hear from you, Ender. Before we thought, okay, maybe this is going to be a blowout for the side of Fnatic over OG. It wasn't quite that. Where do you leave on kind of how strong they are and what they can do in these playoffs?
I mean, I'm still... I think Fnatic did play a pretty good day of League of Legends overall. It felt like games 1 and 2 were so clean and, precise with how they played that they seemed very dominant. And then I honestly feel like you heard Selfmade talking in the interview, like how it feels so different playing online. You play 2 games from your home and smash the opposition. All of a sudden, you probably get a little bit looser. You're trying out some new stuff, and it got sloppy for them, but I don't think I would necessarily like hold those last 2 games like much against Fnatic. I still feel like they're going to be very strong moving into round 2.
All right, well, let's pull up the bracket then and look into that, because as said yesterday, things were thrown into disarray. I heard a noise. I don't know where it came from. Test? No? Okay, cool.
I don't think it's Bwipo.
Okay. We're going to throw up the bracket in just a second. There it is. But of course, because of the craziness that occurred yesterday, Mad was going up against Fnatic for a spot in the final. OG will be going up against the winner of Misfits versus Rogue. And that is not what we had expected.
No, not even a little bit, right? We knew a Fnatic or an OG was going to have to be down in the bottom bracket, but to see G2 down there too is a very big surprise. So we're actually going to get like an early G2 OG knockout match, assuming that OG would move on as the favorites here. But I think the game tomorrow is going to be really interesting as well, with Misfits versus Rogue, because both of them had a lot of hype, I feel like, towards the start of the season especially. Misfits went on that massive game winning streak and started cooling off towards the end. So if they can sort of find some of the magic that was working for them, they could be looking at a pretty fun playoffs run.
Yeah, and the big question is who is the best team in the LEC? Luckily, that's why we have our playoffs. But what was a pretty clear picture before is now, for me, been thrown completely into disarray.
So I'm in a really weird position when I'm like thinking about who's the best team in Europe, because if you're just basing it off of like recency and looking at the playoffs, like obviously G2 didn't really look that clean yesterday. I was not impressed with, a lot of their gameplay, especially to the ceiling that we know G2 could hit. So immediately they're sort of taken down a peg. And then you think by default Fnatic would sort of go into the number 1 spot. But I don't think that we are going to ever be able to write off a G2, even with that game 5 loss against the Mad Lions. I still feel very much like we are going to get in a position where Fnatic probably win next week, and then we see a rematch of G2 Mad, and then, I mean, you can only say, like, will they be able to pull it off and get the finals that everyone expected, which was Fnatic versus G2.
And what do you think about this Fnatic versus Mad matchup? Like, I don't know, because we didn't see a perfect Fnatic today. Did we see a perfect Mad yesterday? Who knows? They did play out of their minds, but maybe this is now just the level we have to expect. Was G2 just way below our expectations? Like, ooh, it's a mystery.
So I definitely think, like, watching the series, G2 underperformed relative expectations. Everyone knows that. I also think Mad Lions overperformed to a certain extent. But everything Selfmade was saying in the interview about Shadow in the jungle being an absolute monster, like, everyone saw that Olaf game. He completely 1v9'd it on that pick. And their bot lane as well. Like, I feel like those are, like, such powerful pieces for Mad Lions that they can really hold their own across their counterparts in Fnatic. So that becomes interesting. And then it's, well, can Humanoid hold his own in mid lane against Nemesis, and can Arome hold his own against Bwipo in the top lane? And that's where I get more concerned for Mad Lions, and that's where I feel like they're going to have the edge in this, is the solo laners, which we know, when they are unlocked on Fnatic, they will disrupt the rest of the map completely and start breaking down anything Mad Lions thought they had going for themselves.
Okay, just as an update for all of you at home, we've lost Bwipo, unfortunately. The tech issues were too big, but his picture is still there, so you can look at that and imagine him, he's always talking
Yeah, this is
about
the
very
least I've heard
interesting
Whippo
stuff.
talking in a
In
PGL.
forever. With that, we are going to wind down slowly, but not before we talk about tomorrow. We've had 2 best of 5s already and 9 games at that, so we've been a bit spoiled. But tomorrow we have Misfits versus Rogue to see who will be playing Origin next week. Ender, what do you think?
Oh, there's like this is one of those matchups too that I think is going to be really, really close, because going into week 9 in the LEC, everyone was saying, hey, Rogue, they're looking good, they're consistent, they're going to be 4th place, and then they dropped some crucial games, and now I really do feel like this match could go either way. I came into the weekend thinking yesterday was a G2 stomp, today was a Fnatic stomp, and those games were much closer, so now this, I think, has the absolute potential to go a full 5 here. On Misfits' side, I'm especially looking at the jungle mid combination of Razork and Febivin. They've been really smurfing it throughout the LEC this entire year and can sort of disrupt a lot of what Rogue is going to be trying to do.
Yeah, I wonder if things are going like opposite of what we expected, because we expected that first day to be a 3-0 for G2 and it was 5 games, then the second one to be Fnatic favored but closer and it was a 3-1, and now this one is going to be a 3-0 for Rogue or Misfits.
Yeah, this will be the stomp, right?
This will be the stomp. No. I hope not, and I hope we see kind of both Misfits and Rogue having found their level again, because I think for both of them at the end of the split, it wasn't all as clean and as suave as we have come to expect from them. That is tomorrow, though. That'll be all from us here tonight, because without Whippo, what are we really doing here? He's the guy that supplies the wisdom, and who wants to listen to Ender for an hour? Am I right?
What?
No, completely.
Wait a second.
I am just kidding. Thank you so much for sticking by me all day, Ender, and also in this PGL. If you want to watch, oops. Don't hit the mic. If you want to watch more League of Legends, we have the LCS coming up. FlyQuest versus Evil Geniuses. They kick off their spring playoffs. We're hoping for some good games on the other side of the pond. But here in the LEC, we will be back tomorrow for the last best of 5 of round 1 of the spring playoffs. Misfits versus Rogue. Goodbye. Good evening. Bye.